Welcome back to the courtroom of ideas, folks. Today's case is a fiery one. Is college really a scam? On one side, we've got a student defending higher education as a path to opportunity, culture, and long-term financial gain. On the other, we've got a sharp critic ready to tear down the entire system as nothing more than indoctrination and wasted debt. By the end of this trial, you might just change your mind about whether that diploma is worth the price or nothing more than a golden trap. Let's get into it.
Tilt it up, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm just curious about your stance on college as a scam because I feel like, according to the Hamilton Institute, people who get bachelor degrees over a total lifetime earnings will earn over $1 million more than those who don't. And also, I feel like college is an important place for people to go learn valuable life lessons. And also, it's good to have a balanced society because then you're gonna get artists, you're also gonna get architectures, you're gonna get engineers, you're gonna get all sorts of different people that we need in society. Because, what's the point in living if we don't have writers or artists? So I just want to get your take on that.
Sure. Question is, did the best writers learn to write in college? Probably not. No, the best writers are gifted writing, and they learn to write by writing. And I would just argue that this kind of holistic view you get. For example, what are you studying? Can I ask?
Economics.
Okay, so what do you think of Thomas Sowell?
I actually really like him. I bought his book, Basic Economics.
Great.
He's one of the first economists I ever
Do they
really
teach it
looked
here?
at. Not yet, but also I've only been
Okay,
for
so now you're
1
proving
year.
my point. If you're studying economics and they're not teaching Thomas Sowell, you're not getting an education, you're getting an indoctrination.
Well,
and you're
no.
being scammed.
Okay.
Milton Friedman, do they teach Milton Friedman here?
No, but I'm aware of him.
Okay, Ludwig von Mises.
I'm aware of him, but no.
Murray
Well,
Rothbard, hold on.
No.
F.A. Hayek.
No.
Frederick Bastiat.
No.
You're not getting economics education, you're getting an indoctrination. You should know every single, it's not your fault, but what you're paying for or going into debt for is not a real economic education. Those are the people that theorized about free markets, which is a legitimate school of thinking. Monetarism, private property rights, and the fact that I'm not criticizing you, I'm criticizing the institution that's failing you, that you don't know what these people believe and you're not being taught that rigorously, proves my point that college is a scam.
Yeah, but again, I've only been here a semester and a half. So.
But do you know who John Maynard Keynes is?
Heard of him. Actually, we did read about him a little bit.
Okay, so you read about John Maynard Keynes, but
In class.
Keynes.
Yeah, in class. I read
Yeah,
about it
okay.
in class.
Right, so that's my point, is that they'll teach you Keynes, but they won't teach you one out of the 7 people that I mentioned, Bastiat, Hayek, von Mises, Rothbard, Sowell, or Friedman. And that proves my point, which is that it's all demand side. It's all one picture of an economic argument that is not the complete picture of what, now maybe later on you'll get a supply side, economics teacher here, but this idea that you go to college to kind of get your worldview liberated, yet you get your worldview altered, to be perfectly honest. Secondly, to your point of earnings over a period of time, it matters completely and solely on what you study.
Yeah.
If you study the liberal arts, even after 10 years, study came out yesterday, 16 lowest paid majors happen to be some of the highest majors that people actually go and study, which is liberal arts, sociology. God bless people that do that stuff, I suppose. But you're also filled with all of the woke rubbish that is infecting our society.
All right. I just want to talk to you about that book. It was a good segue.
Oh, did you read it?
No.
Okay.
But I want your thoughts,
Okay.
just face to face. Why do you think college is a scam?
Okay. So, half of this audience, if you get a job, will get a job that doesn't require a college degree. 41% of kids that enter college will not graduate. And the vast majority of kids, 60 to 70% that go to college, I believe study things that are completely worthless, meaningless, and don't enrich society at all.
But is that the fault of the student or the college? Because I looked in the stats for this. It's usually because they either don't have the finances to support themselves going to college, they have mental health problems that lead them to dropping out, or stress, or their family's not supporting them. So is that the fault of college that they pick bad degrees? Is that the fault of the college that they can't support themselves, right? It's like getting a gym membership and then saying, well, I don't want to actually go work out. It's the fault of the gym.
So, a good question. So first, the 41% of kids that drop out, the federal government will fully underwrite any four-year college through FAFSA, through a student loan. Meaning, so if anyone has financial difficulty, that's not really a thing. The federal government will fully grant you your loan to any four-year university, right? So you might not want to take on that student loan burden. You might not want to take that on, but that's number one. Number two, I can't speak to the mental health issues. I doubt that 41% of the kids that graduate in that number all have mental health issues, but maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. I don't know that number. But let's talk about the institution itself. So everyone in the audience here, how many of you have had to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you didn't have to take, that are a waste of money, and that every single hand goes up? Look around, look around, look around, no, look around. They're scamming every kid in this audience. They are forcing them to take classes that make them poorer, that take up their time in order to get the credential. That is an institutional scam. And by the way, every other part of life is all about your own customization. Your Netflix account, how you get your burrito bowl, from how you dress, your Amazon cart is you are in charge. But you come to college and they say you must go take these 3, 4, 5 classes that are very expensive, especially for you out-of-state students, to go further into debt, study things that don't matter, to find jobs that don't exist. That sounds like a scam.
At least in my personal experience, right? Like maybe some colleges, I would say.
What are you studying?
I'm studying economics.
Right, okay.
And what I would say is that I have a great levity and choices of classes I want to take. Even if like there's a bunch of general education classes, I have a great flexibility in the class I want to take. It's up to the student if they want to take meaningless classes given their credit limit.
Okay, but I mean, I would just speculate that this school still has specific criteria of classes, right? Am I correct? Yeah, you have to take a diversity class. That sounds like a scam.
Well,
they are robbing you to take a diversity class.
It's actually not what you typically think. I think.
I mean, I'm taking. Is it true? Do you guys have to take a diversity class?
No. This is true.
Okay.
This is true.
All right, so that's a scam. Like, let's be clear. Diversity class scam.
Can you define what a scam is?
When you are getting ripped off of with your money, your time, your resources, either beyond what is a market rate or against your will. So I'll give you an example. If you guys want to fly to New York and Spirit Airlines says we're going to charge you $2,500 for a one-way ticket, I think we'd all could agree flying Spirit Airlines for $2,500 is a scam. Like, you know it when you see it.
I mean, it depends on how you view the worth of college. Like, if the Federal Reserve for San Francisco released a newsletter discussing the actual finances behind is college actually worth it, and they found that by age 40 you recoup the average student recoups all their costs
if they graduate.
If they graduate, and even accounting for that, other economists also state.
No, so that's an important study. If you take out the top 10%, that's not the case. So
top 10% of what?
Top 10% of graduates and income earners. So the top 10% end up flourishing with a college degree. The other 90% do not. Do you know that there are 11 million job openings in this country that pay $75,000 a year, that require 6 weeks of training, that require muscular labor or using your hands? 11 million job openings. Now, a lot of you guys are in college.
And there's the first big strike. The critic argues that by teaching only one school of thought, universities are engaging in a form of intellectual fraud, offering indoctrination instead of education. Think about it. If a courtroom only allowed one witness to testify, would you really call that justice? The same logic applies here. But is it really a scam or simply a flaw in curriculum design? That's the $1 million, or should I say $100,000 debt question. What do you think? Is limiting perspective the same as robbing students?
Because you've been pushed into college saying that you must get the piece of paper, you might get the piece of paper, when there are good paying jobs, 11 million of them, but either your society, your parents, or your own choices are, no, I want to go to college, I want to go after that piece of paper. My contention is that there are way better options out there for a lot of students. Not every student, but a lot of other students.
Charlie, I think a part of your core rhetoric, there's actually some real truth there that, like, I think there's people who are getting really just pressured to go to college even if they make poor choices. I'm just saying that even while you're in college, you can make better choices to make yourself a better
candidate. I totally
candidate.
agree. Do you think most people do?
I know some that are making great choices. I
Okay.
know some that are making terrible choices.
So let's think about this. Why do you think, let's just say most make terrible choices? Would you say that's the case?
I'll give you 40 to 60.
Why do you think that is? Maybe because the institution incentivizes bad choices. It's easy to coast and still graduate. It's easy just to check the boxes, right? It's not an institution designed around excellence. It's around, let's get you through the mill as quickly as possible, get the piece of paper, pay your bill. Thank you very much.
But do you think that the culture around students going to college could change instead, around their decision making?
I think we need way less kids going to college. The institution itself is so broken, let's be clear. Forced diversity classes, DEI, all that stuff, it's nonsense. If it was really, college really should be closer to what Hillsdale College is, which is about wisdom, beauty, truth, goodness, not just about job preparedness. But we've lost that completely. If it's about doctors, lawyers, engineers, and the skills, of course. But you know that. It's way beyond that. I mean, people going to, not to pick on you, but you're studying economics. That's terrific. That's a good reason to go to college. It's not the best reason, I'll be honest, but it's a good reason, right? I mean, economics is a serious discipline. It's a real science. You know, we need people really rigorously studying that. So,
I'd like to disagree with you
All right,
about college as a scam.
Okay.
Just because there's 50% of people who you say don't need college to get a job, why would it be a scam? There's a social impact about college, on America. College is, good.
The majority of kids that go to college when they graduate have a lower view of America than when they entered. Do you think that's a troubling thing?
I think just changing your opinion doesn't really matter too much.
Do you think that college teaches responsibility and hard work and...
Sure.
Okay, well, I find that hard to believe. Why is it that employers are more and more not wanting to hire college graduates and they actually want to hire people that didn't go to college?
What employers?
You can name them out, man. Walmart just got rid of their, even in their corporate level, so you don't need to go to college. Koch Industries, one of the largest employers in the country, from Georgia Pacific Railroad to Dow Chemical. They said we no longer want kids that have gone to college because they end up causing problems because they're super entitled. And they're like, oh, what are my pronouns? And they have all this like left-wing nonsense that they've been filled with.
Well, then you have engineers, doctors, lawyers, people that
Sure, we need that, but that's less than 20% of the people that go to college.
Yeah, but
college is
it'd
an
be wrong to say
institution.
college is a scam if 25% of people become great people. Lawyers, doctors, engineers.
That's
able
not
to
what
really
college
help the
currently
world.
is, though. Again, I'm happy to have you read the book. College is a scam. I wrote it. I can have a more wordy thing, which is the vast majority of people that go to college are receiving a scam for the money that they're borrowing. The vast majority. Of course, there's exceptions. You can make whatever you want with your life. I mean, you could. But I mean, when you enter into an enterprise, you need to know that you are
go into college
let
make
me
more
prove
money
this to
at
you.
the end.
How many of you guys have to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you wouldn't have to take? Every single hand. You're being scammed against your will to take classes that make you go further into debt. Why can't you say I don't want to take this class? Why are you? Why as a customer you can't say?
Can you do a differential equation?
You what?
Can you do a differential equation?
Can I do
Can you explain to me the anatomy of a human?
like someone off the top of my head?
You know what psychology is.
Yes, I do know what psychology.
Okay,
I've read
can you
Freud and I've
explain
read Jung.
to me?
Do you want me to explain psychology?
Well, you can't explain it to the depths of a bachelor's degree or a PhD.
Well, hold
or
on a second.
master's.
Time out. I've sat here with no notes, no phone, and debated people with
Yeah, because
PhDs,
you study
masters.
this because it's your job.
Hold on. I didn't go to college, man. That's the point. Is you could do whatever you want without a college degree. You can listen to podcasts, read books. You
think
don't
about
need
if
to
Gauss
go.
wasn't able to go to the University of Göttingen. That's literally the reason.
I can't hear what you said. What'd you say?
You know Gauss, right?
No,
Mathematician.
Yes, vaguely, sure. Okay.
Vaguely.
Yes, vaguely, yeah.
Oh,
Do you know who
okay.
Milton Friedman is? Do you know who Herbert Marcuse is? You know who Thomas Sowell is?
Do you use a phone?
Do you know who Gouverneur Morris is?
Well, that's 'cause of Gauss.
No, you don't. So I could do gotcha too.
Like
so before
Euler
you try to
went
get
going
off
to
your ivory
university
tower
is the
and understand
reason
that not
he
everybody.
was able to become so proficient in mathematics.
So here's
and
the
change
thing.
the world.
The majority of kids that go to
Most
college
people
are
that get
more
a
depressed than when they enter.
PhD degree are able
Secondly,
to perform much better in their field than someone who doesn't.
Well, then, if that's the question, if that really is true, if college is this amazing accelerant, then why do so
I
many
wouldn't say
people?
it is accelerant, but if you're looking at a field of science, right?
Let me finish, man.
And you want to
Have you taken a
accelerate that field of
communication
science,
course, or have you not done that yet?
You need a degree.
All right. Let me make my point. If that's the case, why do half of these kids end up with anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 in debt, and they end up getting a job that says, "Oh, sorry, you never needed the degree in the first place"? Why is that the case? Tell me.
People on average, once going to college, make more money.
Hold on, that's not true. They end up getting a job.
That is.
No, that's only if they graduate and it depends on the field of study. Do you know the average college graduate now is getting a job at $61,000 a year. The average plumber after 18 months, $68,000 a year.
Well,
the
sure,
average
but the
welder,
plumber isn't able to
$72,000 a
study
year.
with peers.
The plumber didn't go to college. The plumber went to trade or technical school. There's 11 million job openings that do not require a college degree in this country.
Well, who
11
engineered
million.
the stuff plumbers use?
I'm sorry, what?
Who engineered the stuff plumbers use?
I'm sure someone here. I mean, that it's like
someone with a
It's like
degree
saying who
from
designed the
college.
airplane for the pilot to fly. I mean,
Someone with a degree that went to college. Pilots go to
I'm not
college?
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying you get rid of all places of higher learning. The way it's currently comprised for you guys, the amount of debt you have to go into, the
Well,
classes
you
that you
say
have to
don't
take.
get rid of places of higher learning, but then you go on to
you're
say
interrupting me
college
every
is a
15
scam.
seconds. You're not debating in good faith because it is a scam. So let me ask you a question. Can you point to other things of American life the last 100 years that have been scams? For example, when they run an advertisement, they say buy these pills because we're going to make you super muscular, and they don't have all the fine print that it might not work, and you have to have a monthly subscription. We shut down that business for being
That's
a
a little
scam.
different, though. That's a
How is it
product.
different? Hold on a second. When you show up to college, did they tell you you have to take all these classes that you didn't sign up for? Did they? It said that you're going to have to take all these different classes. Did they tell you that half of you guys would not ever use your degree when you go into your career? How many of you guys knew that? You guys knew that when you signed up?
Well, college
knew
is
that.
what you
then
make of
you
it,
guys
right?
You guys are willingly participating in the scam. Good for you. The point is this, is that most kids know deep down they're getting ripped off. The number one thing I hear from people across the country in corporate America, boy, college is a waste of time. Boy, I wish I never would have gone. Now I have $60,000 in debt, $70,000 in debt. I wanted to start a business, but now I don't have the credit to do it. Instead, we are wasting our most prized possession, our 18 to 22-year-olds, to go stick them at many universities when they shouldn't be here in the first place. And it is a failed project. It is making us poorer. And by the way, just look at the actual numbers over a period of time. Has it worked? Is homeownership now going up for young college
Well,
graduates?
how are we going to blame that on college, though?
There's
a lot of different reasons that people are not able to buy homes.
It's the most equally applicable thing across the board for a
I wouldn't
generation.
say so.
And if you look at the average, how much debt do you have to go to school, by the way?
None.
None. Okay, wow. Are you on scholarship or?
Yeah,
Okay, so who's paying for your college then?
probably the federal government.
Okay, so I'm paying for your college, is what you're saying. My taxes are paying for your college. So wait, you're on grant or what?
I'm not going to discuss my college finances with
Well, no,
you.
this is really important. This is why you're so defensive of college.
Yeah.
This is why you're so forceful, because you don't have to walk around the rest of your life with $100,000 student
I know
loan debt.
plenty of people that have part-time
Hold on a second.
jobs and go to college.
This explains you perfectly. I, the taxpayer, when I write my check to the IRS, I'm subsidizing your ability to go to college.
Okay. When
And I
I
think that's a
write
huge
my
mistake,
check to the
'cause-
IRS, I
'cause
also give money for people to go to college.
You should have skin in the game. You should, and you don't right now. You are doing a freeloading thing. Of course, you should be defensive of
I
college.
pay taxes. I pay federal taxes.
Yeah,
I pay state taxes.
I'm
Well,
sure I
state-
pay a
let's
little
say
bit more than
income
you, but that's a
taxes,
separate issue. But the point is this: is
That's
that
probably true.
do you think you pay anywhere close to the tuition value you get at the school? Probably not.
Yeah, probably I do. It's like $5,000 a semester. It's a lot of money, but you get a lot out of
Wait,
that.
hold on. How much is it to go to school here?
It's around $5,000
So in-state.
in-state. Yeah.
Okay, did that include room and board and tuition?
No.
Okay, how much does that cost?
Room, board, tuition, all of it's around 11,000.
11,000 a semester. So you pay $22,000 a year in taxes?
No.
Okay, got it. So you're in a tax deficit, which means the U.S. taxpayer is subsidizing your education. That's fine. I'm not faulting you for it, but this is why you're so defensive, is you're detached from the price. You're detached from the cost. It's easy to be defensive of something you're not paying for.
I just was curious about your stance on college is a scam.
Yeah.
And I just was curious, why you say that.
Let me prove it to you. How many of you have to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you shouldn't have to take? Well, there you go. I rest my case.
Yeah, no.
How many of you guys know at least 3 people that dropped out that went to this college previously and earlier? Okay. The national graduation rate is 41%. Most people that go to college do not graduate. You guys actually go to a school that has a lot of applicability in the job market outside of some of the majors that are offered, but aeronautical engineering, computer engineering, which, go work for Elon. So this school is actually a little bit more of the exception than it is the rule, because I think humanities are largely one of the great wastes of time and kind of societal poisons and cancers that are happening in our society. So yeah, I'm happy to continue.
So yeah, so what do you recommend an 18-year-old dude or a girl to do after high school?
Turn up the volume. Can we try? I apologize. Sorry. Yeah. We're gonna try, and I will come out there and say hi to you guys in a second. So, Yeah, and we're gonna go say hi to all of our friends over there. So, yeah, what do I recommend? It all depends on what you want to do. That's the worst thing you can do is enter into a 4-year agreement where you have to borrow a bunch of money, try to find your way, go take a bunch of classes that have very little relevancy, and next thing you know, you end up with a college degree and you end up getting a job that doesn't require a college degree. Here's a fact. Half of people that graduate college end up getting a job that does not require a college degree 10 years after they graduate. That is the best argument I have. It goes to show the diploma doesn't actually have.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at engineering students. You're looking at,
Well, enginering's different. There's
finance students.
I qualified
and
that.
Students like that. For example, I went to community college for 2 years, and a lot of other people go to community college. You get free community college for 2 years, then you could transfer over, and then 2 years at a college like Cal Poly or a university, and the top 5 paying jobs out of college are accountants, engineers, teachers.
Try to get closer to the mic so people can hear.
Teachers, engineers, stuff like that. And it's just, and then the guys, the people that are wearing the shirts are actually in college. So I'm just curious,
but they know better than I do that it's a scam then.
I mean, it's just someone like me, I think it just comes down to hard work ethic,
No,
like I don't understand, not everyone's built for the trades. Not everyone's built to go into construction or, work as a painter or whatever they're doing after college.
Or a mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, a large majority of people going into college out of high school, I think it's a good choice for kids because they have 4 years to develop as a human being versus just jumping into the workforce
that's
and
a good
making what 30, 40 grand, and you can't live off that right now.
I mean, are those folks over there developing as human beings?
I mean, I'm not talking about them.
But hold on.
I'm talking about,
That's what college produces, though. Angry, bitter, resentful activists that hate the country. That's not developing. That's hardening and honestly creating, a mobilization army for the radical left. That's what we've seen.
You got your major courses where you're taking, I'm a real estate finance major, so I'm taking classes for real estate finance. I have internships in real estate finance.
It's great.
I'm not going into that field after college, but I'm saying you take classes at college to get a job after college, and there's most of the universities you get over 75 grand a year out of college. And if you do the route of 2 years at community college and transfer into a university, you're able to pay off that debt, which is around 20K, 30K. For a school like this, you can go to state school, and then you're off to the races.
If you graduate, 41% don't, because they shouldn't have gone in the first place.
Then what do they do? What do you do after?
They never should have gone. I mean, we have 11 million open trade jobs in this country.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. People do not want to work with their hands, and parents don't want to send their kids to go work with their hands because it's considered to be dirty type labor.
Well,
11 million job openings in this country that require just a 6-month certification, whether it be auto mechanic, right, HVAC, plumber, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. But
no, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just like large majority of people in America right now are just lazy. They're not going to be doing that after high school.
Well, we agree. So does college make you lazier or make you work harder?
It makes you work harder. I mean, I worked throughout college. I've worked.
You are the exception then.
I mean,
because employers are disagreeing. They say we've never seen such lazy, entitled, narcissistic college graduates. In fact, most employers say if you have a college degree, you're put in a different category. They prefer people out of high school, unless you want to go work for Bank of America in a soulless laptop job for the rest of your life, and go learn about how men can become pregnant at some HR department survey.
Or you use your analytical skills that you use in school to get a job that pays 6 figures.
You can develop analytical skills outside of college.
I think you're just.
I'm living proof of that.
I think you're just. I mean, I almost dropped out too, and
I'm not saying it wasn't the right choice for you, but more times than not, kids are deceived and lied, and they have tons of animosity because this school is unique. If you go to UCLA or if you go to UC Berkeley, you're not left with $30,000 in debt. You're left with $130,000 in debt, right?
No, if you do the 2-year community college.
Again, I preface this school's a little different, but appreciate the thought. Thanks, man. If you feel as if there's a massive amount of injustice in the world, there's a lot of truth to the argument that you as a young person have been lied to and misled, and that you have been told to do things that are not in your best interest. One of them being having to go to college to succeed. I do not believe that a majority of young people should be going to college. In fact, I think that college is largely a scam, and I'll prove it to you. How many of you have to take classes that you are forced to take that have no relevancy to your degree or major, and you wish you shouldn't have to take? Yeah, every hand goes up, right. And so the idea that just a piece of paper is going to be able to grant you access in society is a highly questionable one at best. And so how many of you know someone that dropped out of college? Raise your hand. Yeah, almost every hand goes up. You're being forced to take classes that really have no relevancy to your future, whatever that might be, and you're also simultaneously then knowing that people are dropping out at a record rate. Ask yourself the question, why is this the case? And so, but this is something I want to try to just hopefully find some common ground on, which is the following, which is that if you feel as if kind of the game has been rigged against you as a young person, you're not totally wrong. There is a understandable anger that begins to set in, and I know a lot of you feel this way, as if I've done everything I've been told to do, and I do not get the same shot at the American dream or at flourishing that my parents did. And I will say that we could talk at length about what to do about that, but I think that there's a critique out there by some conservatives that all young people are lazy and all that. I don't believe that. I think there's plenty of lazy young people. There's lazy people in every age group. I don't think that millennials and Gen Z are generally lazy. I think that they've done everything they've been told to do, and now they're looking at their life when they're 25, 26, and 27, and they're like, wait a second, I followed the rules. So my message is, understanding that critique, let's try to turn some of that cynicism into hope, into a country that could be, something you could buy into, something you could do in your own life to actually find meaning and purpose, because cynical people do really bad things. They do. Over time, cynical politics is not good for society. You get very radical political movements when you start to be cynical about everything. And guess what? I have to wrestle with this myself. I'm cynical about a lot. But instead, I have to go through the process of stopping the cynicism and saying, wait a second, what do I believe? What's the country I want to live in? What can I do to actually hopefully get an optimistic, hopeful message out? Because the politics of cynicism is bad for everybody. If you think things are always constantly falling apart and there's no resolution, there's no way to try to solve it, then by definition, what comes next is either going to be an authoritarianism or anarchy, one of the two. And one will lead to authoritarianism, right? Anarchy does not last. It doesn't. Anarchy happens, and then an authoritarian person takes over. And you saw this in the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution. When people get hyper cynical about the political process, they're willing to give their political power to a Napoleon or a Vladimir Lenin or whatever. I don't want that. You don't want that either. And so if you're feeling as if the game has been structured against you, I want to just say there's a lot of truth to that argument. And conservatives don't always talk like this. Conservatives will usually say, work harder, study harder, live by the rules. I agree with all those things, by the way. I think there can be a little bit more grit in this generation and all that. But I think it would be unfair and not true to act as if right now a 20-year-old at UC Berkeley has the same set of circumstances that someone in the year 2004 had here. It's just not true. And the lack of recognizing that, I think, is something that creates even more cynicism and more anger.
What exactly do you mean by college is a scam?
Good question. I wrote a whole book about it. Largely the value proposition that you are being offered is not worth the time or the money that many of you are forking over. There's exceptions to that generally, but for example, the vast majority of students that graduate from four-year college, they'll end up getting a job, if they get a job at all, in a career or a job that doesn't require a college degree. So henceforth, asking the question, why did they go to college in the first place?
Okay, now what do you mean about jobs that don't require a college degree?
Like working at Starbucks as a barista.
Okay. So what exactly do you mean by the value proposition not being sufficient for the cost of going to college?
Yeah, so, I mean, going $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into debt, that's a significant thing. And hopefully if you're going to do that, you're going to be able to prove and have some value for that reason. So for example, there was a study that just came out in the last day, the 16 lowest paying job majors, and the vast majority of those are actually what kids study in college, right? Communications, liberal arts, things of that nature. And so the question is, why even go to college at all if you're just basically getting a credential that is worth less and less money in the marketplace? Now, if you study engineering, if you study finance, terrific, but the scam also is just beyond the financial value proposition. It's the ideological pollutants that are spread on college campuses and the, let's just say, some of the left-wing indoctrination that occurs here as well.
Okay, so moving aside from that red herring there, I myself am a communication major, and I am very well aware of the communication majors who just take a 4-year degree and go into jobs that either don't require a degree or...
Try to get as close to the mic as you can. Is that okay? Thank you. It's okay. Yeah.
But anyways, I'm aware of the communication majors who only get a bachelor's degree, and if they're lucky, they're only able to get research assistant jobs in communication, or not even get a job that requires a degree at all. But would not those who continue on to get masters and doctorates in communication, who get hundreds, who get $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year research jobs, would that not counteract the total economic, socioeconomic value of those who just go into college and then end up Starbucks baristas?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, also master's degrees are expensive, right? PhDs are expensive, so you're looking at least at $150,000 to $200,000 in debt, minimum, if you're going to do that. And if that's the path you want to take, so be it. But there are 11 million job openings in the country right now that pay $80,000 or more that don't require a college degree. 11 million job openings. And I don't think we're always telling our young people, you know, the next generation, that these jobs are available to you. It's an expectation that you go to 4-year college, and in fact, you're treated and almost considered to be dumb if you don't go to 4-year university. And I think that's a big mistake. And not to mention the vast majority, 41% of kids that enter college do not graduate. There's something deeply wrong with the system. So
from what you're telling me,
yeah,
though,
final point.
from what you're telling me, though, it sounds more like the problem lies not in college itself, but rather the individual paths that people choose who look at a situation, make the wrong decisions, don't stay in school as long as they need to in order to get the career that they want.
Or they drop out because they don't see the value. They drop out because they don't think it's worth their time. And again, half of this audience, after 10 years, if they get a job, they'll end up getting a job that didn't require them going to college in the first place. Half. That sounds like a scam. Why are they here in the first place? Why are they borrowing all this money and spending 4 years on a university just to go get a job that never would have required them to get the degree or the debt or the 4 years being spent on campus? Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
And there we have it. The jury is still out. From one side, college offers structure, credentials, and cultural capital. On the other, it carries crushing debt, questionable course requirements, and a workforce that sometimes doesn't care about your diploma. The verdict, maybe it's not one size fits all, but the cracks in the system are undeniable. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns. The gavel has fallen, court is adjourned.